What's up everyone, how are you all? Today we are back with another blazing Naruto story. What if Naruto finds Sasuke badly beaten and left for dead? If you enjoy then please like, share and do comments. And also check the description to original creator of this beautiful creation. Sasuke stood over his fallen enemy. Orochimaru had given him an assassination to complete, but his enemy had not gone down without a fight. He winced. The bastard had nearly sapped all his chakra, and crushed his right arm. His hip was bruised, possibly broken, and his ribs were at least bruised. Hissing, he began his way back to Orochimaru's lair, only to stumble and end up leaning against a tree as his hip decided it didn't want to function anymore. Sliding to the ground, he closed his eyes and groaned. Damn it. Naruto began walking back toward the camp after finishing training. He grumbled slightly and rubbed his stomach. It was then he noticed something by a tree a bit ahead. He headed towards the tree upon realizing it is a person. Hey you alright? Sasuke's head jerked. That couldn't be. Hell no, it couldn't be. Naruto slowed down near the tree. Hey? I asked if you were. He stopped and looked at the person at the base of the tree. Sasuke. Jerking his body, Sasuke forced himself to his feet. He would not stay here with him, not in this condition and unable to fight. Hey, wait. Naruto looked Sasuke over. You're hurt. You shouldn't move. Sasuke ground his words out. I'm fine. He was unable to stand up without steadying himself against the tree with his good arm. Fuck off. Naruto narrowed his eyes. Like hell you're alright. You can't even stand on your own. He gritted his teeth in frustration. It's none of your concern. Sasuke glared at the blonde, face abnormally pale, even for him. It is my concern. Now shut up and sit back down. You need to have your injuries treated or you won't last on your own out here. I said fuck off. You're not touching me. He felt so weak and pathetic. Naruto took Sasuke's hand from the tree and forced him to sit down. And I said shut up and let me take care of those injuries. If you want to get yourself killed, have a little dignity and at least be able to go out putting up a good fight. PSH. If you fought in this condition, a 4-year-old could kill you. Why the hell should you care? Sasuke's eyes narrowed. Why the hell wouldn't I? Naruto grumbled to himself. Always trying to act tough. You're gonna get yourself killed if you keep this up. So are you, idiot. Saving your enemies is moronic, even for you. Sasuke jerked away from Naruto's touch, making it as difficult as possible. Not accepting help when you're in this kind of condition is beyond moronic, especially for you. Sasuke snorted. Hypocrite. You could be in worse condition than me, and you still wouldn't let Orochimaru-sama touch you. He turned his head away from Naruto. Damn right I wouldn't let him. You can't trust that bastard. If I were in this condition. Naruto made a makeshift splint for Sasuke's arm. I'd rather die than let him help me. I'd be more willing to accept help from your brother than him. But as it turns out, I'm not in your condition, and I'm certainly not at worse condition. He grinned stupidly. So I don't have to worry about that now, die? Idiot. Sasuke growled, but stayed still for the most part, ignoring him. Naruto shrugged. At least I'm a nice idiot. Sasuke continued to ignore him, hoping that if he was silent enough, Naruto would get bored or pissed, and go away once his injuries were bandaged. You know, you won't be moving for a few days at the least. Naruto started wrapping bandages. You shouldn't be out here alone if you can't move. No way in hell, idiot. Guess that means I'll have to do it. No. Naruto looked at Sasuke. You've got a better idea, I suppose? Naruto muttered. Like I said, a 4-year-old could kill you in the condition you're in. Then let a 4-year-old kill me. I'm not staying anywhere near you. Naruto muttered to himself. Maybe I should bandage your mouth so you can't argue. Sasuke jerked away. Naruto was almost done bandaging him anyway, and fought his way to his feet. Just fuck off and go away. He was about to fall over. Naruto rose to his feet quickly and carefully caught hold of Sasuke. Didn't I tell you you couldn't move yet? Seriously, you really are stupid sometimes. Just let your injuries heal, damn it. Sasuke breathing was labored. Let go of me, damn it. He jerked away from Naruto. Naruto narrowed his eyes. You can barely breathe. Just swallow your damn pride and rest until you've healed. He kept a tight grip on Sasuke. Sasuke was glaring, still panting. Get the hell away from me. Don't make me knock you out. It's not as fun doing that when you can't even fight back. I'd rather die than be coddled by you. You can be such a pain in the ass, you know. So, exactly how many ribs did you break? I mean, if you're having such a hard time breathing, you probably do have a broken rib or two. He looked around. And who the hell managed to do all this to you anyway? Last I knew, you weren't a total pushover. None of your damn concern. Let go. You want to fall to the ground and have another injury to add to the list? Naruto was seriously thinking about knocking Sasuke out and taking him back to camp to heal. Sasuke's body was trembling from the effort of standing upright, even though Naruto was supporting most of his weight. How many times do I have to tell you to fuck off before you listen? Probably as many times as I'd have to tell you to shut up and rest before you listen. Then let's cut things short and just leave me alone. Oh come on, you've got to know me better than that by now. Unfortunately. Go. His vision was getting a little hazy. Come on. Naruto looked at Sasuke with concern. You really need to lay down or something. It'll be easier to breathe on your back. I can help you down. Fuck off. He was wavering. You know I'm not going anywhere until you're better. Saintip. His vision was fading in and out, body wavering. Fuck. Naruto helped Sasuke to the ground. Stop being a dumbass and rest. Here, I'll make you a deal. You shut up and rest for a day or so and then I'll leave. Alright? Not making deals, bastard. Naruto pushed Sasuke down to the ground. Too bad. You're not in any condition to be objecting. Now shut up and lay still. The blonde crossed his arms. You'll have an easier time breathing. And you damn well better lay still or I will knock you out. He brandished his fist. Got it? No. Sasuke groaned, trying to get up again. His arm gave out as he crashed to the ground. You'd feel a hell of a lot better a hell of a lot sooner if you would shut up and listen to me for once. Care. Bastard, he was straining. Since I'd rather not knock you out. Naruto struck a series of pressure points on Sasuke's body to immobilize him. Guess that'll have to do. Sasuke choked, unable to move from the neck down or even really talk. He tried to concentrate on breathing. Give it a minute and you'll be fine. Sakura was always better at that than me. Naruto shrugged slightly. Let's just hope you don't spike a fever or anything. With injuries like yours you probably will get sick. Sasuke glared weakly, his gaze unfocused. Bah, he wheezed. Yeah, I know I'm a bastard. He sat down and leaned back against a tree. Sasuke closed his eyes, catching his breath and sulking. Damn Naruto. Damned bastard. Naruto glanced at Sasuke. Good, finally resting. Why the hell does he have to be so damn stubborn anyway? He took a deep breath. Sasuke's energy was gone. He couldn't move, even though he forced himself conscious as long as possible. Eventually he dozed off, his breath evening. Naruto leaned back against the tree and forced himself to remain awake despite exhaustion. After a few short hours, Sasuke groaned in his sleep, cheeks flushed and skin starting to sweat. Naruto shook his head slightly to wake up. He looked at Sasuke. He leaned over him and placed his hand on his forehead. Ah great, he's got a fever. Naruto looked around. I don't have anything to reduce a fever, and I can't leave him alone like this to get some water. He used one of the extra bandages to wipe the sweat from Sasuke's forehead. I knew this was gonna happen. Sasuke groaned, eyes fluttering open from the feel of the cloth on his forehead. His eyes were hazy and blank, not recognizing anything in front of his. His stomach twisted, he felt nauseous. Naruto looked at Sasuke. Awake. Told you that you'd get a fever from all this. Sasuke squeezed his eyes shut, groaning. Shish up. Quit talking. If you want this fever to go down faster you need to be quiet and rest. I'll take care of everything. Bastard. Sasuke mumbled, but behaved and laid quietly. He didn't have the strength to do much else. Naruto smiled slightly. Do yourself a favor while you're just lying there. Come up with something better than bastard. It's getting old. Just to annoy him, he muttered, Dobi. Naruto twitched slightly. Ah, shut up and try to rest. Sasuke's eyes fluttered shut again. He wasn't in the mood to fight anything. Dob. He mumbled, dozing off again. Naruto checked Sasuke's temperature against own. Nothing serious. If he sleeps it off he should be fine. He sighed and sat back. Sasuke slept though most of the night, occasionally waking up. But he went back to sleep soon after each time. Naruto yawned and struggled to remain awake. He checked on Sasuke occasionally until his fever broke. He ignored his stomach when it growled. Sasuke slept well into the morning before opening his eyes. His body ached. His temperature was still there, though slight. Groaning and not quite awake, he tried to sit up. Naruto yawned. Thought I told you to quit trying to move till you were better. He struggled to keep eyes open. Sasuke blinked, the last night was coming back to him in bits. Fuck. He continued to try and get up. Naruto mumbled. You're just gonna hurt yourself more if you keep trying to move now. You said one day, Dobi. It's been a day. Sasuke managed to sit upright and try getting to his feet. I said a day or two. He crossed his arms and looked away. So damn stubborn. I should have just knocked him out. And it's been a day. He rose to his feet and crumpled to the ground. Yeah well. He looked at Sasuke. Looks to me like you need another day of rest. I don't need anything. Again, he tried to stand, visually grimacing from the stress on his hip. Naruto got up and helped Sasuke stand. You need a good punch in the face to bring you back down to earth. If you weren't hurt enough already, I'd give you a few of them. I don't need any of your fucking favors. He slumped against Naruto, trying to support his own weight and failing. Naruto grumbled in frustration. Stubborn fool. He supported Sasuke. How bad is your hip? None of your business. Sweat was beading his forehead from the effort of standing. His hip was nothing compared to his arm or ribs. Well, it's bad enough if you can't walk. He really needs serious medical attention. But he's too damn stubborn to let me get him some help. You really need to have someone look at the rest of your injuries. You've already looked at them, and I'll be damned if I let another person touch me. He let Naruto set him back on the ground. Yeah well, you should let someone a hell of a lot more experienced than me look at these. Someone else might actually be able to help you. Then you could run off and do whatever the hell you want. Naruto muttered. I just feel better seeing you get some help. You're an idiot. He leaned against the tree, making soft, wheezing sounds as he breathed. Leave. Naruto sat down. I'm not leaving until I'm sure you're alright. And I'm very sure you aren't alright, so. He crossed his arms and stared at Sasuke stubbornly. I'm staying. What the hell is your problem? He was panting. Why won't you leave me alone? What the hell is your problem? Why won't you let anyone who actually gives a damn help you? I don't want your help. You. Sasuke broke off, coughing violently enough that his entire body shook. His chest was killing him. Naruto winced slightly at the sound of Sasuke's cough. Why? Why won't you just let someone help you? You know, someone who's not a twisted psycho. Fuck you. He was wheezing and gasping for air. His lungs were burning. Lay down. No. Fine. I'll do it while you're sitting up. He crawled over to Sasuke and turned his head to the side. He leaned head against the Uchiha's chest and listened to his breathing. Get the... Sasuke gasped. Fuck off, bastard. Shut up. I'm just making sure you don't have a punctured lung. Sasuke had another coughing fit, relenting as it passed. Just sounds like a few broken ribs. Puncture would explain all the breathing problems though. Apart from being shallow and rough, your breathing sounds fine. He sat back. Ass. He fell back against the tree trunk, body slumped. Naruto crossed his arms. Why are you being such a jerk anyway? Is it really that bad that I'm worried about you? I don't need your help or pity. He closed his eyes, concentrating on breathing. Pity and concern are different, you know. Shut up. There is no difference. I don't have pity for you right now because as far as I'm concerned, you brought this on yourself. I'm worried though, worried that when you finally do need help you won't ask for it, and you'll wind up dead. Why the hell do you care if I live or die? We aren't 12 anymore. We aren't teammates anymore, because we were friends. Naruto looked at Sasuke. You said so yourself. Sasuke snorted. I didn't know what I was talking about. It was the most serious I'd ever seen you. I was young and deluded. It didn't mean anything. Naruto looked away. You were honest. And it meant everything. Then your definition of friendship is worse than mine. Well, for the record, what is your definition of friendship? A delusion that makes people cling unnecessarily to each other. A weakness. Nope. Yours is way worse than mine. Mine's at least right. Let me guess. When two people care about each other and make each other happy. He gave a cold laugh, which quickly turned into another body-shaking cough. PSH. No. That's naivety. Friendship makes people stronger. It's something to fight and die for. It's something to live for. It's trust and support between people. Naruto crossed his arms around the legs. It doesn't always make you happy. Sometimes it's a pain in the ass. But I'd rather die because of it than try to live without it. You're an idiot. Do you really believe such things? Of course. You're hopeless. So you've said many, many times. Because it's true. Sasuke was nodding off, despite his efforts to stay awake. Yeah, Naruto muttered, but you're just as hopeless as me. Done. Insult me, Dobi. His breath was starting to even out. You're hopeless and you know it. Hopelessly stubborn, hopelessly foolish, hopelessly arrogant, hopelessly stuck up. I could go on for hours. Sasuke didn't respond, asleep. Naruto twitched slightly. I guess I shouldn't be annoyed that he just fell asleep. At least now he's resting again. He stifled a yawn. Sasuke didn't stir when Naruto laid him on the ground, out cold. Naruto watched Sasuke for a while before resting eyes as well. He focused on remaining awake and winced when stomach growled. Sasuke opened his eyes hours later. His throat was dry and scratchy. Naruto rubbed his eyes and held out a canteen of water. Go on, drink it. He yawned. You need it. He's lucky there was clean water not too far from here. Sasuke just turned his head away, ignoring the offer. I'd rather not force it down your throat, you know, but if you keep acting like a stubborn little girl I will. Sasuke didn't move. If you drink it I'll leave you alone for a few hours. I'd rather you leave and didn't come back. Sasuke muttered. His voice was hoarse. Naruto opened the canteen. Yeah, I know. So you keep saying. Sasuke still made no move to do anything. I don't really think you mean it though. You don't have that seething hatred sound in your voice. Naruto laughed slightly. To be honest, it kinda sounds like you actually want me to stay. Sasuke snorted. You're imagining things. Nah, you know well enough that if you really wanted me to leave, you'd shut up, do what I tell you, rest, and get better faster so I wouldn't feel as bad about leaving you alone out here. Or I just can't stand being near you. Well, you must like it somewhat because you're being so damn stubborn and making me stick around longer. I'm not doing anything to make your life easier. Well, if you really hate me so much you're just making your life harder by making me stick around to tend to your injuries by being a stubborn idiot. Sasuke remained silent. God-damned idiot. It's like arguing with a wall. He's so damn stubborn. I feel like I'm babysitting a 2-year-old. Sasuke turned his head away from Naruto. He wasn't going to even honor him with a look. Naruto grumbled. Fine, be that way. Just don't bitch to me later when your throat is sore and you're dehydrated and have to deal with me for another day. Naruto watched him lay silently, mumbling, he's worse than a PM Sing girl. Sasuke still remained silent. Naruto sat silently and tried to ignore stomach. Stupid, stubborn Sasuke. What did I do to deserve all this out of him? Sasuke coughed. His throat hurt. Naruto held out the canteen. Just drink the water. Sasuke glared, but took it. There, see. Now was that really so hard? Considering he could barely move physically, couldn't sit upright without help, and his pride had just been mortally wounded, yes. If he'd swallow his damn pride once, just once, he'd be getting better a lot faster. He'd be getting a hell of a lot better, much faster, if he would let me get him some better medical help. Naruto sighed in slight frustration. Sasuke held onto the canteen, still ignoring Naruto and not actually drinking from it. Naruto glanced at Sasuke in irritation. You better drink some of that. I really will force it on you if you don't. Like you knocked me out for being difficult? Sasuke snorted. The blonde helped Sasuke sit up. He took the canteen and opened it. Prying open Sasuke's mouth, Naruto poured the water in. No, this time I'm serious. Sasuke choked. He hadn't expected Naruto to actually do that. Coughing up at least half of what was being poured down, he sputtered. Bastard, he coughed violently. There, see? Your throat sounds better already. Naruto held out the canteen. Now drink up. Sasuke glared evilly at him. I already did in case you've forgotten. There's still a bit left. Naruto shook the canteen to prove it. Now either drink the rest on your own or I'll force it down your throat again. For being so obsessed with seeing me heal, you seem awfully intent on killing me. If I were really intent on killing you I could have done it 100 times by now. Naruto shrugged. It's not my fault you can't figure out whether to breathe or swallow when someone dumps water in your mouth. Nor is it my fault you won't leave me the hell alone. I already told you I'm not going anywhere till you're better. You do realize someone will come to retrieve me soon, don't you? You don't need to be here. Naruto crossed his arms stubbornly. Yeah, I know. Till then you're stuck with me though. You want to be caught with me? Sasuke looked at him like he was crazy. Naruto glanced at Sasuke out of the corner of eye. I don't care. He blinked. Why are you giving me the, he's crazy, look? You still never think of the consequences of his actions, do you use your kantachi? Naruto tried not to grin. Why would you care? Oh, don't tell me you're actually worried about me. Hardly. He didn't have to worry about Naruto, he could handle himself. Sasuke on the other hand. You better not be worried about me. I can take care of myself. You on the other hand. Naruto shrugged. Well, maybe that's why I'm sticking around. You can't take care of yourself right now. So you're going to sit here and hold my hand until all my wounds have healed? Sasuke snorted. Idiot. What's so wrong with that? If you have to ask, then there's no point wasting my breath explaining. Oh no. Go on, explain. I'm curious. Tell me, Sasuke. What's so wrong with it? Sasuke closed his eyes, ignoring Naruto again. You really have to quit doing that. Sasuke continued to ignore him, trying to figure out how long it would be until he could move, injured or not. Seriously, you have to stop. Naruto glanced at his stomach when it growled. Stop ignoring people. Sasuke's face twitched ever so slightly, but remained still and silent. Maybe he'd go away now. No wonder Sakura was always in such a bad mood. He's terrible. Naruto sighed slightly. He's being quiet. Sasuke noted. Hopefully he'll get annoyed enough to leave soon. Your breathing doesn't sound as bad anymore. You should seriously try to take it easy for a while though, give that time to heal. Stubborn moron. Why won't he just shut up and leave? His face was calm. You're hoping I'll just get fed up with the silent treatment and leave, huh? Sasuke didn't respond. This is nothing. I had to deal with a whole week of this. When Sasuke again did not respond, Naruto went on. You're probably silently wondering why I haven't run off to stuff my face too, even though my stomach is driving me nuts. Naruto shrugged. I had to last a few days on nothing but water while training. You were probably hoping food would get me to leave. Sorry to disappoint you, Sasuke. Sasuke didn't react. Naruto leaned back against the tree. Ah, I give up. Finally. I'll shut up now and let you rest. Maybe he could pretend to sleep, then sneak away when the idiot left for water or food. He's probably hoping I'll leave soon, at least to get some water or something. PSH. If I have to move, I'll just carry him. Knowing Sasuke, he'll try to get away while I'm gone. And he really shouldn't be moving on his own for another day or so. Sasuke slowly let his body relax and his breath deepen as though asleep. Naruto glanced at Sasuke. What a bad faker. Ah well, I'll let him think he's doing a good job faking it. Sasuke didn't notice how the slight wheeze of his breath disrupted the illusion of sleep. He waited for Naruto to leave. Naruto got up and headed toward the small river with the canteen. He moved behind a tree silently and smirked. This should be good. Slowly, so Naruto wouldn't notice, Sasuke began gathering his chakra. There was barely any in his reserves. The transportation jutsu wouldn't be much, but enough to give him a decent head start. Naruto snuck around the trees and moved up behind Sasuke. He crossed his arms. And just what do you think you are doing? Sasuke didn't answer. He had sensed Naruto coming back, and was letting his chakra build and ebb like he would during meditation. He should have known such an opportunity would not have shown itself so quickly. Naruto laughed slightly. You were really going to try something, weren't you? Shut up, Dobi. I'm trying to heal. Meditation was always good for chakra replenishing. Naruto sat back down. You know, I may occasionally be an idiot, but I'm not that dense anymore, Sasuke. Naruto uncrossed his arms. I'm not letting you go until you're better. Sasuke continued his meditation. He'll try again. I know he will. Sasuke still didn't answer. He'd find his chance sooner or later. That, or someone would come retrieve him. Idiot. If he thinks I'm dropping my guard long enough for him to attempt to run off, he's got another thing coming. Sasuke was getting agitated. Even he had limits, no matter how unnaturally long they were. He was contemplating stabbing Naruto with a kunai through the chest. It would catch him by surprise, and give him a chance to get away. Naruto kept a close eye on Sasuke, waiting. Though his face was calm, Sasuke's uninjured fingers twitched, growing more annoyed. Naruto tilted his head slightly. He's getting annoyed with me. I can see it on his face. Sasuke took a deep breath to calm himself. What do you plan on doing once I'm healed? Well, you're planning to run back off, aren't you? Naruto held back a sigh. Guess I go back to training. At least you aren't a total idiot. Well, I wish you wouldn't run off. It'd be great if you could come back even. But I guess he can't. But I guess if you are gonna run off, there's really not much I can do to stop you, huh? Sasuke snorted. Have you even thought about what would happen if I went back to Konoha? I'm missing Nin. Yeah, I've thought about it. That's why once you're alright, I guess I had to just let you go. Let me go? He sounds like he has a say. He mentally winced. The incredible pain was starting to get too much for him to ignore. Naruto tilted his head slightly. He doesn't look so good again. Sasuke, you alright? Fine. He wouldn't tell the idiot, but he did need serious medical attention to set his broken bones before they started to heal wrong and cripple him more than anything else. The pain was secondary to that. He's not alright. You're a really bad liar, you know. Sasuke didn't respond, his lips twitching with a barely suppressed wince. Oh damn, I forgot about his broken bones. They had to be reset soon. Sasuke tried to remain as still and normal as he was before, though his breathing was becoming more shallow. He's having a hard time breathing again. Naruto moved closer to Sasuke. And he's getting pale. Well, more pale than usual. He placed a hand on Sasuke's forehead and tensed up slightly. But his fever was going down. Sasuke shook Naruto's hand away. Get off. Your fever is back. And it's higher. So? He closed his eyes so everything would stop blurring together. He was getting worse. If it goes much higher, your life will be in danger. Even if you can handle your physical pain, if your body temperature goes too high, your organs will shut down. We need to lower it. Sasuke cracked open a hazy eye at him. You decide now you need to ask for permi. His breath hitched, and he coughed. Permission? I'm not asking your permission. I just don't think you'd be too thrilled with the fastest ways to lower it. Which is, well, apart from cold water, taking off your clothes. At least some of them. Whatever suits your sick fantasies. Sasuke closed his eyes again. He didn't feel much like arguing. Yeah, I think you'll be fine long enough to wait while I get some more water. If you have the energy to come up with a comeback like that. Naruto got up quickly. You've got enough to hold off a fever for about 3 minutes. Sasuke glared at the orange haze in front of him, what he assumed to be Naruto. He heard what sounds something akin to blah blah blah, but that's what he usually heard from Naruto. He's starting to look dazed. Better hurry. I'll be back. If you do feel up to it, strip. Trust me, it will help with your fever a bit. Naruto ran off to get more cold water. Sasuke noticed that the orange haze was going away. He went to try and do the symbols for the transportation jutsu, before realizing that one of his hands was broken. Feek. Naruto returned a few minutes later with water. I told you, you shouldn't try anything. Sasuke blinked, disoriented. What the hell was he talking about? Naruto rummaged through a small medical bag. You're just lucky I have to carry this damn medical bag with me now. Naruto soaked a cloth in the bag in the water before wringing it out and placing it on Sasuke's forehead. He's looking really bad, like he has no idea where he is or why he's here. Sasuke made a face when Naruto laid the cloth on his forehead. With his good hand, he made a weak attempt to wave him away. Stop moving. The more you move, the more your temperature will go up. You need to stay still. He muttered. Last thing I want is to see you die like this. Sasuke wasn't able to really understand what Naruto was saying. He tried to turn his head away from the cold. Naruto held Sasuke's head still. Sasuke groaned. Let go. Only if you stay still. Sasuke relaxed once the hand holding him still was gone. His body relaxed as he groaned. Everything hurt. I can't believe there isn't much else I can do. I can't set bones. I do more harm than good. Naruto grit his teeth slightly. His consciousness wavered as he struggled to stay awake. Sasuke let out a soft moan of pain. It'll be easier on you if you pass out, you know. At least then his body will slow down a bit. If I can get his fever to break, then he should be fine when he wakes up. The pale body trembled, sweat beading on his features as he coughed. Naruto wiped the sweat from Sasuke's face. He removed the cloth and re-soaked it. Just hang on, Sasuke. I'll get you through this. He wrung out the cloth and placed it back on Sasuke's forehead. Sasuke's coughing was getting more violent, breath starting to come in desperate gasps. Now what? It's not like I know what to do in a situation like this. Naruto looked around desperately. After a few minutes, the coughing fit ended. His body finally relaxed, breath calming, though it still was shallow. Naruto looked at him and muttered, "Damn it, Sasuke. Don't scare me like that. He needs help. Lots of it." Sasuke took a deep breath, his eyes fluttering open. He was able to see a bit better now. Wah! Naruto looked down at Sasuke. Sasuke? Sasuke turned his head towards Naruto, eyes unfocused. There's not much more I can do. Sasuke's hand came up to touch him, brows drawn together in confusion. Naruto blinked once. You have to rest. If I can get your fever a bit lower, you should be fine. Sasuke groaned, head and hands falling back. On his face was a grimace of pain. Chakra was gathering around the curse seal. Alright, that's it. He needs a doctor. I'm getting you to a doctor. Chakra started to flutter around the curse seal, taking more and more. Sasuke struggled feebly against Naruto. No. Naruto picked Sasuke up. Quit arguing. You're going to die if you don't get some serious medical attention. Sasuke groaned weakly, body stilling in Naruto's arms. His breath evened out. The chakra gathering around his seal faded to a weak pulsation. Naruto looked around. Oh great, all that talk and now I don't even remember which way to go. Sasuke's eyes slowly closed, falling unconscious. Naruto glanced down at Sasuke. Damn it. Now I can't even ask Sasuke if he knows where we are or which way to go. Naruto looked around. Okay, well I came from that direction so. Naruto turned and started running with Sasuke. Tsunade walked out of the hidden examination room, sighing as she came upon the anxious blonde. He'll live, she answered a bit dully. Sasuke had required hours of her time, and some of her most advanced techniques. What took you so long to bring him back when you found him injured, brat? He kept trying to move. I had to get him to stop moving and rest a bit. But he'll really be alright? Yes. It'll take some time, possibly months of healing and rehabilitation, but he'll be fine. Naruto sighed with relief. I want you to fill out a missions report of what happened. And until we figure out what to do with him, no one is to know of his presence in Konoha. Got it, brat? Is she ever going to quit calling me that? Naruto nodded. Now go on, get out of here. Go visit your friends. The Hokage made an attempt to shoo him away. Naruto started to leave, reluctantly. I'm coming back later, you know. Tsunade waved her hand. Yeah, I know. Just make sure no one else does. Once he was gone, she went back into the room where Sasuke and Jiraiya were. Have you discovered anything yet? Jiraiya nodded. This curse seal is more problematic than we thought originally. He glanced at Tsunade. Anko's never gave her nearly as much trouble. Is it another level of the seal, or is his body having an adverse reaction? She looked down the bed-bound Sasuke. From what I can see, this seal completely alters his state of mind. He's aware of what he's doing when he's under its influence, but he can't stop what he's doing. Jiraiya rubbed his head slightly. I've seen some pretty nasty things before, but this one is certainly the cruelest. I can't tell if it's been doing further mental damage or physical damage to him. But someone should have noticed such a drastic change. Tsunade idly brushed a lock of hair out of his face. I think Naruto has noticed. Jiraiya looked at Sasuke. I don't think he would have brought him here if he wasn't certain there was something else going on. Besides the life-threatening wounds? Tsunade mused darkly. Is there any way to reverse it? Kakashi's counterseal didn't work very well. I'm not sure. If there is a way, Jiraiya grinned broadly. I'll figure it out. Be quick about it. We need to figure out how much this is affecting before his future can be decided. Well, I can already tell you it affects a lot. Reversing it will take a good while, if it can be reversed. Jiraiya crossed his arms. His personality, his willpower, his very nature is different. At least based on what I've heard from Kakashi and Naruto about him. What are the chances that the seal is the reason he left to join Orochimaru? Pretty high. He glanced at Tsunade. Tsunade nodded. Do whatever you can to reverse it. He may be able to reinstate as a Konoha ninja if that is the case. We'll still have to keep a close eye on him if that's the case. I'm making no moves to reinstate him until I am sure his curse seal is under control. She checked Sasuke over once more, before leading Jiraiya out of the room. I'd recommend a serious psychological evaluation too. We don't know what it's done to his mind. Jiraiya shrugged. His past makes his mind fragile enough as it is. Tsunade sighed, taking out a bottle of sake. Orochimaru has really outdone himself this time. She mulled over the drink. As much as I'd hate to agree. Jiraiya nodded. Yes, he really has. How has Naruto been progressing over the last year? She needed a topic change for the moment. Better than I expected. I don't know what exactly I did, but I swear he's gotten smarter. How do you figure anything that involves brains is you're doing? I'm the only one he's had much interaction with. Which is why I'm trying to figure out how it happened. After a moment, she asked, "How long do you think it'll be before he comes back?" "I'm not sure. He'll probably be back in a few hours, demanding to visit." Jiraiya shrugged. "Probably sooner." He glanced at Tsunade. "He went a good few days without eating to take care of Sasuke and get him back here." Tsunade looked up with interest. "What else did he do?" "Reduced his fever several times, carried him here himself, gave all his water to Sasuke." Tsunade had an amused look on her face, chuckling lightly. Jiraiya tilted his head. "Did I miss something? More than I have apparently." "Well, you are going to fill me in, right?" Jiraiya leaned toward Tsunade. "It'd be more amusing to let you figure it out on your own." "You're cruel and unusual. How many years has it taken for you to figure it out?" "Apparently time away from you has helped me forget. Just think of your book Ero Sanin." Jiraiya glanced at the door to Sasuke's room, glanced down the hall in the direction Naruto went before glancing back at the door. Tsunade watched him, amused. Jiraiya looked at Tsunade. "You've got to be kidding. If I was, would it be disturbing you as much as it is? All my hard work gone to waste. I doubt your research would have done anything but made it worse. How did I fail to notice? Giving up eating, carrying him, even giving up his water. How did I miss this?" Tsunade was smirking. "Still sinking it? How could I have missed it? Naruto giving up food should have been the dead giveaway that something was going on. If it makes you feel better, he probably realized it yet either." Jiraiya looked at Tsunade. "You mean he's as clueless as I was?" "Probably more so. He can still realized it as Sasuke being his best friend. How long till he figures it out?" "How should I know?" Tsunade leaned back in her chair, taking another swig of sake. "He won't even be thinking about anything but friendship until Sasuke wakes up." "I don't know. You didn't hear the 'I'm not going to let him die' speech. Thank the gods for small favors." "How bad was it?" "Well, he ranted for about 20 minutes about there being nothing that would stop him from getting Sasuke the help he needed. Then more rambling about him, and I quote, 'not letting someone I care for die.'" Jiraiya shrugged. "Like you said, I passed it off as friendship, but I've never seen him more serious." Tsunade's smirk grew bigger. "He has absolutely no idea what he's doing. I swear, you could have cut off his arms and legs and left him to bleed to death and he still wouldn't have let that stop him from getting Sasuke here. She's enjoying this too much." Tsunade was chuckling. She was taking a sadistic pleasure in all of this. Jiraiya raised his eyebrow. "You're enjoying this too much, Tsunade." "Your point? I haven't even gotten to the interesting part." "Go on. You know how people who lose consciousness sometimes talk. And when they regain consciousness have no memory of what they may have said out loud. Just like talking in one's sleep." "Yes." Tsunade watched him with interest. Jiraiya smirked. "I don't think Naruto heard it because he was busy ranting, but Sasuke was muttering Naruto's name. He spiked another fever around then, but I know what I heard." Tsunade looked ready to laugh. "I could rationalize it as Naruto being the last person Sasuke saw, therefore affecting his subconscious, but I don't want to." "You're thinking the same thoughts I did, right? That normally, Naruto would be the last person Sasuke would think of. And therefore it's probably a subconscious thing where he just remembers the last person he saw before losing consciousness, but you don't want to rationalize it, do you?" Jiraiya grinned. "Because right now I don't think I want to either. Your theory is just making too much sense now." Tsunade chuckled lightly. "This is going to put a nice spin on things. Or complicate things more. If Sasuke really is as mentally and emotionally crippled as you believe, a relationship may be a good thing for him. Maybe. I'm just hoping it would get his mind off revenge. I think it had a lot to do with why he hasn't been able to resist that curse seal. He leaned against a wall. He's hell-bent on killing his brother. And if he doesn't put revenge out of his mind, it's just going to mentally weaken him further. Even if I manage to get the curse seal under control long enough to possibly find a way to completely reverse it. If he still desires the power for his revenge, I doubt any measure I take would be effective. And Naruto will make himself a distraction whether we want him to or not." Jiraiya glanced out a window. He smiled slightly. "Speak of the devil. Back already. It hasn't even been 2 hours yet." Jiraiya laughed. "I'm surprised he didn't ask to see Sasuke before he left." Jiraiya said quietly as Naruto entered the room. "Back already, brat? Damn right I am. Can I see Sasuke yet?" Jiraiya had to hold back a grin in his laughter. Tsunade smirked. "Didn't I tell you to go see your friends?" She stood up, teasing. "Is that a yes?" For a bit, Tsunade lead him to the room. He needs to rest more than anything right now. I'll be quiet, I promise. Tsunade almost stumbled as she opened a door to reveal Sasuke lying on a bed. He was bandaged in many places, looks generally beaten up, with an oxygen mask, IV drip in, and protective coverings over his curse seal. Naruto, be quiet? That was a new one. I'll be back in a little while to retrieve you. Alert me if there's any change. Naruto nodded and went over to sit quietly by the bed. I'll leave you for now. Tsunade closed the door behind her. Sasuke lay silent and still on the bed. Well, at least he'll be alright. Naruto looked at the IV drip and air mask. I should have brought him here sooner. Sasuke was still unmoving except for the gentle swell of his chest with each breath. The beep of the heart monitor was soft and steady. Naruto spoke quietly. Sorry I waited so long to get you here, Sasuke. Tsunade had her ear pressed to the door, listening. Jiraiya also listened with his ear pressed to the door. He glanced at Tsunade and whispered, You heard that too, right? Nothing too juicy yet, Tsunade murmured. Jiraiya muttered, Give him a few minutes. I'm leaving them alone until Naruto says something. I know once you wake up you're probably going to be mad at me for bringing you back or something. Naruto looked down. But you'll be okay, so you can be as mad as you want. He needs to talk louder. Tsunade was having a hard time hearing. Jiraiya smirked. He said Sasuke would probably be mad at him for bringing him back. He tilted his head slightly. You can tell by how he said it, that he held something back. Tsunade grumbled. Of all the times he actually listens to me and be quiet, he has to choose now. He's not being quiet. You're just getting old. Jiraiya grinned. I can hear him perfectly fine. Your ears are trained from years of peeping on girls. I can't see how peeping helped my hearing. My sight. Ah yes, my sight is in great shape from it. Listening to the girls giggle and gossip with each other. Now, shut up and let me listen. I'll make you a deal. As soon as you wake up you can call me any name you want, just try to wake up soon, alright? Naruto sighed. Stupid as it sounds, I guess I kind of miss arguing with you and you calling me every name in the book. And, guess I kinda just miss you talking in general. Naruto shook his head slightly. Where did that just come from? He irritates me most of the time. Jiraiya glanced at Tsunade and grinned. He muttered, Tell me you heard that. Tsunade smirked. And waiting for more. I'll have to wait a while before knocking you flat for making me worry about whether you were going to live or die, but I am still going to knock you flat for it. Sasuke's breathing stuttered for a moment, body tensing. Naruto leaned a bit closer. But you know, maybe I'll take it easy on you. I'd rather not see you in a condition like this again. Sasuke's body relaxed, breathing normal again. I wonder if he can sort of hear me or something. His mind was hazy, but Sasuke could hear a familiar, distant murmuring. Probably not, but, well, if you can hear me, hurry up and get better. And if you can't, hurry up and get better anyway. The noise was getting louder, growing to an irritating buzz. His uninjured fingers twitched. Huh? Naruto noticed Sasuke's fingers twitch. The blonde tilted his head. He actually moved a bit. Sasuke's body stilled again. Naruto crossed his arms. Darn. He muttered, now you're just doing that on purpose. Sasuke's brows twitched slightly. The buzzing wouldn't just shut up. Naruto leaned close again. Moving again, Sasuke made a soft sound, breathing hitching slightly. Better than nothing, I guess. Naruto smiled slightly. Murmuring a bit more, Sasuke's eyes slowly crack open. Sasuke? Sasuke turned his hazy eyes to Naruto. His lips moved, but only a soft whisper came out. Hang on. Naruto got up slowly. I'll be back. Naruto went to the door. Tsunade jumped away from the door, acting like everything was normal and she wasn't completely eavesdropping. Jiraiya moved quickly away from the door and leaned against a wall. He glanced at Naruto when he opened the door and said that Sasuke woke up. All right, wait here, Naruto. Tsunade went into the room and started checking on Sasuke. Naruto stayed by the door and looked into the room. Jiraiya watched Naruto out of the corner of eye, still trying not to laugh. Tsunade talked quietly with Sasuke while checking him over. Getting nothing but a few glares, she sighed and came back out. Stubborn little brat, she muttered. He gave you the silent treatment, didn't he? It's not like he can speak very well right now anyways. She sighed. He's all yours, Naruto. Jiraiya watched Naruto head back into the room and muttered, this is becoming amusing. Beyond amusing, Tsunade was also watching. Jiraiya watched Naruto try to talk to Sasuke. You've got to give him credit for persistence. Stubbornness, you mean? She was smiling nonetheless. In his case, it tends to be the same thing. Tsunade smiled. True. Sasuke was laying on the bed, eyes shut, even though Naruto was next to him. I know you're awake, you know. Sasuke stayed still. How could the idiot expect me to start paying attention to him now? Naruto laughed slightly. I knew you would either yell at me and tell me to go away or just ignore me again, but I'm glad you're going to be alright. Sasuke was still silent. He could barely talk, let alone yell. Naruto just smiled. Tsunade looked at the time and frowned. Shizune would get on her case soon. Naruto, we'll be leaving you alone for a while. Make sure he doesn't try to escape. Naruto nodded. No problem. We'll be back later to check up on you. Tsunade closed the door. Naruto looked at Sasuke. Hee. Stuck with me again. Sasuke opened his eyes to look at Naruto with a weak glare, showing he was not a happy boy. Naruto grinned. Sasuke closed his eyes again. He was tired and Naruto was annoying. I'll be quiet now, alright? Sasuke was tired and didn't respond. Naruto sat quietly. After a while, Sasuke sighed and opened his eyes. He couldn't fall asleep despite his injuries and exhaustion. He was too anxious. Naruto looked down at Sasuke. His voice was very soft and hoarse. Why? Why what? Why couldn't you just leave me? You needed help. You were going to die, Sasuke. So? You really think I would leave you to die? I don't need pity. I don't need help. You'd be dead without help. Naruto pointed out. I'd deserve it. Deserve it? I'd die from my weakness. I'd deserve it. You don't deserve to die like that, Sasuke. Naruto shook his head. You're too good for that. If I die from something that petty, I do. Naruto rubbed his head slightly. You never could take a compliment. You could never understand simple facts. Meaning? If I am weak, there is no point in being alive. Sure there is. Naruto muttered. Sasuke snorted as well as he could with an oxygen mask. Why wouldn't there be a point to living? Idiot. He mumbled. Tell me why. None of your business. You really are irritating. Naruto crossed his arms. Come on. Just tell me. I won't shut up till you do. You never shut up. Well, Naruto thought. So much for that plan. Oh come on, you can't say something like that and not have a decent explanation. So come on, what is it? Sasuke closed his eyes. The dull headache he had woken up with was getting worse. If I shut up now, will you tell me later? No. Will you tell me now if I keep pestering you? No. Will you tell me now if I shut up? No. Please? No. You don't have a reason, do you? Naruto asked. None of your business. You don't have one. I should have known. Reverse psychology isn't going to work on me, Dobi. Sasuke stopped and swallowed. His throat was dry. Well, if you had a reason, you would just say it to shut me up. I'm not gonna waste my breath. How is explaining something a waste of breath? I don't have much breath at all right now, idiot. Talking irritated his throat. Naruto leaned back in the chair. Fine, fine. Don't tell me, just rest. Sasuke closed his eyes with a sigh. Stupid bastard. Naruto watched Sasuke, then glanced at the wall. I dunno why I bother really. Sasuke tried to sleep, knowing he couldn't do much else. He had been pumped with enough drugs to keep him from moving, even without the broken bones. His throat was bugging him, but he would not injure his pride. If you need anything, just say so. Naruto's eyes looked around the room. Sasuke almost wanted to laugh. The idiot. Naruto glanced at Sasuke. He resisted the urge to laugh slightly and looked back at the window. He'd never say if he needed anything. Sasuke did manage to fall into a light, uneasy doze, coughing every so often. The coughs woke him up. After the 7th time it happened, Sasuke gave up. Water? He asked softly. Naruto looked over at Sasuke. Did he? Naruto hurried to get Sasuke some water. Returning, he helped Sasuke sit up. He removed the oxygen mask for a second and held the glass to Sasuke's lips. Took you long enough to ask. Sasuke drank the water, pulling and looking away. Shut up. His pride was mortally wounded. Naruto set the glass down. Really, one day someone is going to force you to swallow your damn pride. Or shove it up your ass. Sasuke didn't answer, licking his wounded pride. Why are you still here? He asked after a while. Well, because I want to. And because I was told to. Sasuke snorted. I don't need a babysitter. I'm so full of drugs right now that I couldn't move if I wanted to. Like I said, because I want to, and because I was told to. I'm here because I want to be. Why? I have medical attention. I can't run. You've kept me alive. What else do you want? I don't know. The blonde shrugged slightly. Sasuke snorted. You've put Konoha in danger keeping me here. He looked at Sasuke. I'm not the one who decided you were staying here after you were treated. You were the one who brought me here. But I'm not the one keeping you here. If I could attempt escape, you would stop me. You don't know anything. I probably would try. No one is supposed to know you're here yet. I can only imagine the trouble I'd get in if he could try to escape. No one knows I'm here? Sasuke was surprised. He was expecting his return to be announced at the least. Naruto shook his head. Not yet. That would explain the lack of people bothering him. Sighing, Sasuke closed his eyes. I actually thought I'd have a harder time not telling anyone. Naruto tilted his head slightly. It was actually pretty easy. How long were you actually around people? He would have been surprised if Naruto had left him alone at all. Naruto thought about it. Couldn't have been longer than an hour and a half at the most. Sasuke was almost surprised it was that long. I don't care. I'd have been back sooner if I knew I wouldn't get shooed away again. Sasuke closed his eyes. He should be worried about how to escape as soon as possible. Though, the drugs in his system, and a warm feeling that he wished wasn't there, no matter how nice it felt, lulled him to sleep. Naruto leaned back slightly in his seat. There, at least he's asleep now. He looked at Sasuke. I did almost spill that he was here to one person though. The blonde shuddered slightly. Sakura will kill me when she finds out I didn't tell her today. Tsunade monitored Jiraiya's examination on Sasuke. Have you learned anything new? Jiraiya glanced at Tsunade. Apart from that, this is the best work I've seen yet? He rubbed her head slightly. This is going to be a pain to reverse. How deeply rooted is it in his mental systems? Deeply enough. Too much further and it wouldn't be reversible. He shook his head lightly. The damn thing takes over almost all of his mind when it's active. It makes me wonder. Wonder what? Makes me wonder if the Sharingan has been helping him keep it in check. He shrugged. I can't figure any other explanation for why he can fight it at all. Something like this, it should be able to control anyone. Jiraiya glanced at Tsunade. Even we probably wouldn't stand much of a chance at fighting this thing. How fast is it progressing? Is there any way to slow it down? It's not doing anything right now, probably because of all the drugs in his system. Like I said, I think the Sharingan is the only reason it hasn't completely taken over yet. Kid's damn lucky to have it. Why haven't we seen this level before? I'm guessing it has to do with Sasuke's mental condition prior to all this. A past like his makes him more vulnerable. Also, though the Sharingan is slowing down the progression of the curse seal, it's making it stronger, from what I can see. I doubt Orochimaru intended on it being this powerful. The Toad Sannin glanced at Tsunade. He's good, I'll give him that, but this is a bit beyond his capabilities alone. Tsunade sighed, nodding. This was becoming a huge headache. Are you almost finished? The brat'll want back in soon. Jiraiya nodded. I'll be done in a second. Tsunade rolled her eyes as she heard a light knocking at the door. There he is. Jiraiya got up slowly and whispered to Tsunade. Did you rig the room so that we can hear better this time? Whispering back, she lessened the amount of anesthesia Sasuke was under. Several bugs, hidden, camouflaged, and repressed with chakra. We can hear and see everything when we go to my office. Jiraiya looked at Tsunade with a raised eyebrow. You really are an evil woman. He tried not to grin. It's a step up from your peephole in the wall, isn't it? Agreed, but since when have you been this bad? Since it was Naruto and Sasuke. Tsunade opened the door. Didn't I tell you to go away, brat? Yeah, but you never said I had to stay away. Naruto crossed his arms. You should be able to stay away more than 40 minutes. I tried. There was nothing else to do. You haven't been away from this room more than 5 hours in the past 3 days. Naruto didn't even leave to sleep, he just slept in the chair. Jiraiya mumbled, I'm amazed he's been away long enough to eat. Does that really matter? Naruto asked. Tsunade shook her head. We're done for now. Be quiet, be good, and be nice. He's still under the after effects of the anesthesia. No problem. Naruto smiled. Get us if the effects change. Grabbing Jiraiya by his ponytail, Tsunade dragged him to her room so they could spy. Naruto waited for the door to close. Going over to Sasuke, he sat down by the bed and looked down at him. So, are you feeling any better? Why'd I bother? He's just going to tell me to shut up. Sasuke's mind was fuzzy from the drug. "I'm tired," he murmured. "Huh?" Naruto looked at Sasuke with interest. "Did you just answer me? Didn't you hear me?" Sasuke looked at him with drug-hazed eyes. "Yeah, I did." He answered me. "If I ask you another question, will you answer?" "Okay. Will you ever swallow that damn pride of yours?" "You can't swallow pride. It doesn't have a physical form," he mumbled. Tsunade snickered in her office. "This is going to be interesting." Jiraiya fought back a fit of laughter. "I'll bet you money Naruto could ask him anything right now and Sasuke would spill. I'm the one who drugged him." "I know you will. That's why I told Naruto to be nice." Jiraiya leaned back in his chair. "Great. There goes that idea to make easy money off you. Shut up and watch." Naruto blinked a few times. He really will answer anything. He stared at Sasuke. "Right." He nodded. "No physical form. Anything? I could make him tell me why he went to Orochimaru. Better not ask that right away. Just to make sure he's not acting or something." "So Sasuke, how do you plan to escape from here?" "Which one? You have more than one?" "Yeah, could you tell me about them?" "Uh-huh. Orochimaru-sama will probably send someone after me, maybe. I have to wait until my chakra increases a little more, and use a transportation jutsu no one here knows. I can fake how fast I'm healing and escape when they're almost done. I need to know more to plan more though," he admitted. Naruto blinked again. "Wow, can I ask you something else then?" "Okay, this is so easy it's scary. Why did you go to Orochimaru?" "Had to get stronger." "Move Jiraiya," Tsunade muttered. "You're blocking the view and smushing me." Jiraiya mumbled back. "You're the one hogging half the screen. This information is just as important to me as it is to you." Tsunade smacked him. "Just shut up and listen." Naruto looked at Sasuke. "Get stronger? He's strong enough as it is. Why would you need to get stronger?" "Revenge." "Revenge?" Sasuke nodded, eyes shutting for a moment. "Water?" "Oh." Naruto got up and got Sasuke some water. "So, why do you want revenge?" Finally I'm getting real answers out of him. "He killed them." Naruto tilted his head slightly. "Is he talking about who killed them, Sasuke?" Sasuke bit his lip before answering. "Aniki. Thought so. Will you tell me what happened?" "I'm probably pushing my luck." "He killed them. Everyone. I watched." Sasuke mumbled. "Made me." "He made you watch?" "Mangekyo Sharingan. Mangekyo Sharingan." "So, what did you see?" "Aniki killed everyone. Over and over. Couldn't move, couldn't stop him. It lasted forever." Naruto tensed slightly. He made Sasuke watch him kill everyone. "Over and over? Hate him." Sasuke murmured, tears pricking his eyes. "I hate him." Naruto looked at Sasuke and blinked a few times. "Are those tears in his eyes?" Naruto blinked a few more times. "Sasuke." Slowly, he placed his hand over Sasuke's. "Why didn't he tell anyone sooner?" Tsunade stared unblinking at the screen. Tenryo says Naruto hugs him in the next 10 minutes. 20 says it's in the next 10 seconds. Sasuke closed his eyes, a few tears escaping. "Hate him, Sasuke." Naruto bit his lip when it started to tremble. Getting up, he carefully hugged Sasuke. "I wish he had told someone sooner. All this time, who knew he'd been through all that?" Naruto squeezed his eyes shut. Jiraiya glanced at Tsunade and held out his hand. "Pay up. I owe you, now shut up." Sasuke blinked. "Naruto, why didn't you tell anyone sooner?" Hurt, didn't want to admit weakness. He didn't really mind Naruto hugging him. It felt kinda nice. "It's not weak. Not with what you've been through. You should have told someone. Anyone. I told you. I'm glad you told me." "Yeah." Sasuke closed his eyes, tired and warm. He grimaced. His seal was starting to sting. Naruto tilted his head slightly. He glanced at Sasuke out of the corner of his eye. "Something doesn't seem right." "Ow." Sasuke groaned lowly. The pain of the seal was getting worse. Naruto looked at Sasuke. "Are you alright, Sasuke? Neck hurts." He bit his lip to keep from whimpering. "It burned." "Neck. Hey, isn't that where?" Naruto blinked. "Oh great. Not now." Sasuke made another pained sound, the curse seal acting up. He started to sweat, body trembling. Naruto pulled away slowly. The curse seal must be acting up again. He watched Sasuke. He's starting to look bad again. Sasuke cried out in pain, body seizing. The curse seal was starting to spread along his body. His Sharingan activated. Naruto jolted up and backed away slightly. "Sasuke?" Jiraiya got up quickly. "That's a bad thing." Tsunade was already up and heading for Sasuke. She did what she can to keep his injuries from getting aggravated. "Get out," she told Naruto. But Jiraiya pulled Naruto out of the room before entering it. "Hey." Jiraiya shut the door. "I figured out what's causing it to react so badly." Tsunade tried to pull away enough chakra to impede the curse seal's progress. Jiraiya looked at Sasuke. That hug. He let himself be at ease, complete ease. In his state, dropping his mental guard for a minute is enough to set that damn thing off. Jiraiya suddenly muttered, "He must have liked that hug. You make it sound like he got off on it." Tsunade mumbled as she worked on Sasuke's chakra. Jiraiya shrugged. "He might have." Once the curse seal was under control and fading, Tsunade straightened. "I doubt it. Not with the anesthesia in his body. It was probably just the fact it was comforting. Sad that something as small as being relaxed and content would set it off. If that's the case, that's another bet you've lost. I told you he'd enjoy it. I only made one bet with you, and that was for the hug." No. I bet you double or nothing he'd enjoy it. It doesn't count as a bet unless I agree." Now that it was over, she pulled the blanket over his body. Soothing his bangs back, she sighed. "What's the seal doing now?" Jiraiya went over to Sasuke and looked at the seal. "Moving back to dormancy. Can't say for sure if that did any damage. It doesn't look like it spread further though, still seems possibly reversible. Is there any way you could make a temporary seal strong enough to control this? For how long?" "Long enough until he's able to fight it off like before." "I can try." "Good. Will chakra binding do any good?" she asked. "It might help a bit." "Do it. I'll go reassure Naruto." "Have fun. He's not going to be in a good mood." "I know." Tsunade grumbled, opening the door and shutting it once she was on the other side. Naruto tried to get to the door before it shut. "Hey, what's going on in there? Is Sasuke alright? What happened?" "He's fine. Jiraiya is binding Sasuke's chakra so it will be harder for his seal to activate." "How the heck did they know anything was wrong anyway? It's not like I called for help." He narrowed his eyes in slight annoyance. "How did they?" "Clam down. He'll be fine and you'll be able to see him again once Jiraiya is done binding his chakra." There's just no way they could have known. The door was shut. Naruto tapped his foot and thought. What were you doing when the curse seal started to react? I can't tell her that. I got him to talk about why he went to Orochimaru and about his past." "What did he say?" "Lying little brat. I know what you did. He went to Orochimaru because he said he needed to get stronger, for revenge. Because of what his brother did." "Anything else?" "He said his brother made him watch it over and over again." Naruto looked down slightly and clenched his fist. "He said he couldn't do anything. He was 8. There wasn't much he could do against Itachi. He said his brother used something on him." Naruto thought. Something. Manji? Nah. Manga? No, that's not it. Mange. Mangekyo Sharingan. That's what it was. I'm well aware of that brat." "How did you know that?" "I've read the reports of the Uchiha massacre. They were quite detailed." "How detailed?" Naruto asked. "More than I wanted to know." Tsunade smacked him. Naruto winced. "What was that for?" "For taking advantage of Sasuke when he was drugged." "What are you talking? How does she know?" "You told me he told you, idiot." "Oh good. Then she doesn't know about." "It was hardly taking advantage of him. I think it did him some good to tell someone." Naruto crossed his arms. "Under what other circumstances would he tell you?" Naruto looked away and muttered, "I think he'd have told me eventually." Tsunade sighed. "He may have." Jiraiya opened the door and stepped out of the room. Once he shut the door, he sighed. "That should do it for a while." "Is he resting?" Tsunade asked. Jiraiya nodded. "He'll probably be sleeping in a few minutes. I doubt he'll remember any of it when he wakes up." Jiraiya glanced at Naruto. "You should get some rest yourself. You haven't gotten much sleep in the past few days." Naruto narrowed his eyes slightly. "I can't shake the thought. How did they know when to come into the room?" "Go rest," Tsunade ordered. "You can see him in the morning. I'll rest once you two tell me how the hell you knew when to come into the room." "It's not like I called for help or anything." Jiraiya tried not to laugh. "He'll be furious. We have his chakra monitored." Tsunade explained. "Once it went off, we came." Jiraiya burst out laughing. "Don't let her fool you. She had the entire room rigged." Naruto blinked. "RR rigged?" Tsunade hit Jiraiya. "Idiot." Jiraiya just laughed harder. "Rigged? You were spying on me?" "To make sure Sasuke stayed under control." Jiraiya shook his head slightly and tried not to laugh harder. She always was much better at covering her tracks than me. You spied on me, just because you're embarrassed about the hug. Tsunade started. Naruto twitched. They saw that too? Jiraiya held in the laugh that wanted to burst free at the expression on Naruto's face. Now go to get some rest. Sasuke will be fine. Tsunade reassured him. Naruto grit his teeth. Whose idea was all that? Just so I know who to pay back later. Jiraiya's. You went along with it, Tsunade. You're just as guilty as me. You were almost bouncing off the walls when I said you should rig the room. Naruto twitched again. They're terrible. Both of them. Never mind that. Naruto, go get some rest. Naruto crossed his arms. You heard her. Go on. Now Naruto. Tsunade ordered. Naruto sighed and turned to leave. Once he was at the door, Jiraiya turned to Tsunade. I told you he was a stubborn one. You can come back in the morning. Go. Fine. Naruto grumbled slightly. You better be ready to let me in early. With that, he left. Tsunade looked at Jiraiya. So, who was right? Obviously you. The Toad Sannin sighed. All my hard work. Oh well. At least I didn't make a bet on that. And what bet was that? Just stating that unlike you, I only make bets when I know I'm going to win. Jiraiya crossed his arms. So, when are you paying up? The fact I let you in on the two should be payment enough. Tsunade was completely broke. If you can't actually pay, I'm sure I could think of some way for you to pay me back. Letting me in on it is hardly payment. I let you watch too, didn't I? Tsunade asked. I could have watched even if you didn't let me. How? There aren't nay peepholes in this door. None that you're aware of. Shut up. Tsunade went back into the room to check on Sasuke now that his chakra was bound. Sasuke lay still on his back, eyes shut. He was sleeping. The only signs of the chakra binds were a few seals on several key chakra points. How long should these last? Jiraiya followed Tsunade and looked Sasuke over. Hopefully until he recovers. I've never had to deal with anything like this before, so I can't be certain. Tsunade nodded. Inform Kakashi of the situation. Find out everything you can about the Sharingan and possible effects. I'll take care of it. Good. Check up on Naruto while you're at it. Make sure he isn't secretly camping by the windows or something. Jiraiya snorted slightly. Wouldn't surprise me if he was. Make sure he isn't. Good night, Jiraiya. Jiraiya turned and waved slightly over his shoulder before leaving the room. Naruto returned early in the morning to see Sasuke. He sat quietly by the bed until Sasuke woke up. Hey, he spoke quietly. How do you feel? Why can't I feel my chakra? Sasuke demanded weakly. The lack of being able to feel his chakra made him exhausted. It had to be bound. The blonde tilted his head slightly. The curse seal was getting out of control yesterday. What happened? He didn't remember anything. You don't remember? You talked more yesterday than you have in years at a time. What did I say? You answered every question I asked. You even told me how you were planning to escape. Sasuke grimaced. What else? You told me why you went to Orochimaru. That wasn't a secret. People knew, everyone did. You told me what your brother did. You already knew. The Uchiha massacre was far from being a secret. You told me what he did to you. Sasuke was sure his heart skipped a beat. Why didn't you ever tell anyone? Naruto asked. That's no one's business but my own. You told me you didn't want to admit weakness. It's none of your business. You had tears in your eyes when you said you hated him. What shit did they put into me? For a few minutes after all that though, you were calm. For the first time in a while. Better not tell him what happened. What the fuck did they drug me with? Naruto shrugged. I think I liked you better when you were on it though. So you like me when I'm hallucinating and drugged? Sasuke snorted as well as he could with an oxygen mask. You seemed pretty lucid to me. Nicer too. I obviously wasn't in control of my actions. I'm starting to wonder. Sasuke was silent and fuming. I'd tell you the rest if I was sure you wouldn't try to kill someone. I'm already going to kill you regardless. Dark gray eyes glared. Alright then, you let me hug you.